Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our meeting on the 25th of October 2021. I open the meeting at 7:01. I'll now pass on to the CEO who will read out the formalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome all. This is an ordinary meeting of Council. My name is Alison Beckwith and I'm the Chief Executive Officer. Due to the current public health requirements, tonight's Council meeting is a virtual meeting held online. Unfortunately, physical attendance by members of the public is not permitted tonight. Council's request to speak methods continue to allow participation without having to attend tonight's meeting. The Council meeting is being live streamed via our website and Facebook pages. Rules for public participation during the meeting include, please note that any public questions submitted to tonight's Council meeting will be printed in the minutes. Council does not accept questions as part of the request to speak process, and no statement may be derogatory, defamatory. Sorry, I just went muted then, so I'll just repeat that. No statement may be derogatory, defamatory, or directed to an individual councillor, member of staff, ratepayer, or member of the public. A 2-minute time limit applies to all requests to speak tonight. The timer will be used and a warning will sound at the 1.5 minute mark, and officers will sum up for the last 30 seconds if indeed the statements are being read out on the residents' behalf. I will introduce you to the councillors in attendance tonight. So we have Councillor Tom Mullican, Councillor Mark Di Pasquale, Councillor Peter Castaldo, Councillor Alison Champion, Councillor Peter Dimarillos, Councillor Alida McKern, Councillor Fiona Mitsonikos, and Councillor Elizabeth Neely. This evening we are also joined by Council's directors, Kath Brackett, Director of Community Programs, Mark Giglio, Director of Corporate Services, Darren Bennett, Director of Assets and City Services, and Jonathan Risby, Acting Director, City Development. Also here tonight supporting Council is Gina Burden, Governance and Communications Manager, members of the Governance and I teams, and our JETS team coordinating our live stream this evening. We thank you for tuning in to tonight's meeting and for continuing to adapt with us during these changing times. We are continuing to monitor announcements and warnings for health and safety for all in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. Our meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri Wurrung people. And on behalf of Banyule City Council, I wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians. I'd also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri Wurrung elders, past, present and emerging, and to acknowledge other Aboriginal and Torres Strait leaders joining us today. Our diversity statement. Council is committed to the diversity within our community. I'd now like to read the Banyule diversity statement that demonstrates our commitment. Our community is made up of a diverse cultures, beliefs, abilities, bodies, sexualities, age and gender. We are committed to access, equality, participation and the rights of everyone. Participation which enables empowerment, fosters harmony and increases wellbeing for an inclusive community. And tonight I'd also like to read out a statement that's been quite difficult. We've had a bit of a difficult week at Council, but I'd like to acknowledge that reports that have emerged from the IBAC hearing, which, as you all know, Councillor Rick Gorotti was a witness at last week. All these hearings are primarily related to Councillor Garotti's role in the Labor Party. Some of the matters raised also cover his position of authority within Banyule Council. Councillor Gorotti has informed Banyule Council that he'll be taking a leave of absence from his role as councillor for personal reasons, effectively immediately, and will step down as mayor. I, as the Deputy Mayor, will assume the role of Mayor. The IBAC hearings reference Council's practice when it comes to funding community organisations. While I am confident that the integrity of Banyule Council remains intact, we take these matters very seriously. Earlier this year, we conducted an independent audit of the grants and funding of community organisations, the results of which were presented to the Independent Audit and Risk Committee. In light of the matters raised before IBAC, we will start a secondary audit. We will continue to monitor the developments at IBAC, and as we have throughout the hearing, we'll fully cooperate if called upon to provide any further information and any actions recommended accordingly. As a council, we understand the concerns that these recent reports, and wanted to address them directly. I thank you for your support and the support we have received from the public this last week. I'll move on to apologies and leave of absence. Councillor Rick Garotti has submitted an application for leave for the period from the 21st of October to the 7th of November inclusive. Noting also that Councillor Garotti is stepping down from the remaining duration of his role as Mayor, which concludes at 6 a.m. on the 8th of November. Would any other councillors like to advise of leave of absence? There are none. Can I have someone to please move and second the leave of absence? Move Councillor Champion, second Councillor Dimiros. All those in favour? That is carried. Confirmation of the minutes, ordinary minutes of council held on the 4th of October 2021. Can I have someone to move, please? Move Councillor Neely, second Councillor Dimiros. I'll put that in the moment, put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. There are no disclosures of interest at tonight's meeting. We'll move on to urgent business. There are none. Petitions, there are none. Move to the first item, the establishment of the Banyule Community Fund. There is one speaker. A written statement will be read on behalf of Nolan McDowell by Jonathan Risby, Acting Director of City Development. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Mayor. I read this statement on behalf of Nolan McDowell. I speak on behalf of Bragg against items 3.1 and 3.2 on the general aspect of increased EFTs. As a professional accountant and experienced business owner who has worked in both small and large organisations, I'm appropriately qualified to offer the following critique. Councillors, over the past 3 years, the Banyule Ratepayers Action Group, Inc., Bragg, has made extensive submissions to the annual budgets. One aspect that has been highlighted in each submission is the continuing increase in people resources, EFT, over the last decade, and the total increase in employee cost. This cost is the largest operating cost in the budget, over 45% of BCC operating expenses over the last 5 years. In the minds of all ratepayers, it appears to be the never-ending increase in employee numbers and costs every time an item comes to council promoting a new initiative. The promise made to ratepayers when consolidating staff at the one location in Greensborough was that there would be a saving of over $1 million due to the increased efficiencies that would be passed on to ratepayers. Councillors who were involved in, some of whom are still sitting at the table tonight, will remember this promise well. There is never an indication given of system improvements and efficiencies that can comfortably integrate new requirements. There must be ongoing tasks and functions that become redundant over time that make way for ongoing changes. This is part of every business's gradual development and response to change. Councillors, you need to change the continual request for more people resources and demand greater organisational efficiencies and effectiveness from senior management. Increasing people resources without question is an easy option. Requesting comprehensive justification based on sound business principles and rationale is hard but correct option. Please stop loading ratepayers with costly financial burdens of never-ending staff numbers.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I understand that there is a slight amendment to the wordings for this recommendation. Could someone please read those out? You're on mute, Councillor. Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor.
McKern.
Thank you, Mayor. And that is an amendment to point 4, that Council receive a progress report in July 2022 or 6 months after the establishment of the fund, and further receives a statement of all donations made to the fund and grants from the fund on an annual basis.
Thank you, Councillor McKern. Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor Demiros, thank you. Councillor McKeon.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to provide a bit of background to this motion and also make a comment regarding support for it. Albeit I do appreciate the comments by our resident Nola McDowell. So thank you for those comments, Nola. My understanding is that the purpose of the Banyule Community Fund would be to receive and manage philanthropic donations to Banyule Council from outside of the council, which means receiving external private donations towards specific projects in Banyule. Currently, as far as I'm aware, there's no means for council to accept donations or bequests. Yet often, offers of donations do happen. I know I have been approached myself as a ward councillor regarding possible bequests and have questioned how they might be accepted, particularly towards special areas or projects that people or organisations would like to make a contribution to, are passionate about. So this actually is the potential to be an enabler for private donations to council. There's no change to current practice regarding grants with the establishment of the Banyule Community Fund. That said, Mayor, an operational service review is planned for this year, and this process will identify which, if any, grants can be managed by the fund, and councillors will be briefed on any recommended change. Regarding the Australian Communities Foundation, councillors are advised that opening a fund at ACF adds a layer of transparency and accountability. The role of the EFT would be to promote the fund to attract donations. Now, I'm also wondering through you, Mayor, whether the Director of Community Services might like to add to what I've just outlined.
Is there a specific question you'd like to ask, or just would you like to Kath to discuss the structure and the role that this organisation will play?
Yes, it's more the role of it and how we justify it, because this is something new. My understanding is that we would be a leading council taking on an initiative like that. And it would be good to know, perhaps for the benefit of the gallery, more information from the director who proposed this initiative.
Thank you. Would you mind commenting, Kath?
No, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor. What you've outlined is correct. So if Council was to resolve to establish the fund tonight, then it would be a vehicle by which we could receive funds, as you've described, people who wish to grant to the fund. And the role of the EFT is to promote and market the fund, because if we establish the fund, it requires specific skills in terms of marketing and promoting that. There's also an opportunity for that officer to develop a granting framework, which council laws would be involved in as well, which would determine how that fund would distribute and to whom they would distribute the funds based on council's adopted priorities.
Thank you. I think the issue is also, Kath, could you ensure that the residents or people listening that council officers will be the determinants of funding requests and grant applications?
That's correct, Chair. So all the funds that come in, all the grants that come into the fund, when they're distributed on behalf of council with council approval and to projects that council feel aligned to council's priorities.
At the direction of, and the recommendation of staff.
And or council laws. So we will adopt a policy that will actually determine that, but it's done within this council, not the fund. The fund does it. The fund passes out the grant on the council's behalf, but based on what council asks them to do. They don't operate independently in that regard.
Thank you. As seconder, Peter Demiros, would you like to make a comment? No comment. Any other councillors wish to comment? I'll put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. We'll move on to item 3.2, the Inclusive Employment Program 2021 update. There is one speaker. A statement will be read out on behalf of Nola McDowell by Darren Bennett, Director, Asset and City Services. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you, Chair. I read this statement on behalf of Nola McDowell. I refer to my comments on the previous item 3.1. Again, I suggest that councillors push back against the culture of simply adding to EFT expenses and direct that the work described in the officer's report be allocated to and shared amongst the existing staff pool. Ratepayers expect council to demonstrate efficiencies and to make every effort to constrain costs. I further recommend that the Inclusive Employment Program be fully reviewed and its possible continuation be the subject of a fresh budget submission next year at the time council presents its annual budget proposal.
Thank you. There is no recommended changes to the, as per the papers. I'd like to councillor move Councillor Neely, seconded Councillor Champion. Comment?
Yep, thank you. This program was implemented at the beginning of 2019. It's a proactive approach to engaging residents facing barriers to employment, targeting at-risk community groups addresses inequality, which is really important. And it provides opportunities for groups and people, like Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, culturally diverse and linguistically diverse people, and people living with a disability. And the other is our young people. So this year, in the last financial year, 10 participants successfully completed the program, and the participants have secured some sort of employment, whether it was ongoing or casual work, which is a wonderful achievement. So considering people have lost their jobs through lockdown, this program is more important than ever, particularly for disadvantaged groups. I'm very pleased that Council will aim to create another 15 placements from this December. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Neely. Councillor Champion, did you want to make a comment?
Just very quickly, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. This is one of the most brilliant initiatives that Banyule Council has come up with in the last few years to provide people of disadvantage or youth the opportunity to create some skills and knowledge to get them started in the workplace, which is meant to last at least 40 years, if not longer, is just, you can't argue it. So whatever we can do to provide this, continue to provide this initiative for all these people, I just support wholeheartedly every time it will come to council. We'll always support this. It's brilliant. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Well said. And this is not only a wonderful opportunity for the people to participate, but it also, I think, adds to every employee feels that sense of pride coming to work, working for an organisation that does care about its people and gives everyone an opportunity. And that's good for a morale. It's good. It makes you feel better about coming to work. So I think this is one of the huge successes of this council, and oftentimes we forget about the successes, and this is certainly one this council will be quite proud of, and led by Councillor Garotti. So any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor McKern.
I'd also like to express my support for this program, Mr. Mayor. We've of late started to include, as well as acknowledgement of the traditional custodians, a diversity statement at the start of each meeting. Now, an important word amongst many important words in that statement is that of inclusion and access. And I think that this program is true to the values that we establish in that diversity statement. I must say I have been approached by a couple of entrepreneurs who engage in social enterprise projects I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention them, but one in particular did send me a photograph of a portable coffee making unit that could be used by people in wheelchairs to make coffees. And his suggestion was we establish one in one of the local parks in Ivanhoe, enabling wheelchair users to make coffees for the users of that particular park. Now, there are a number of, I suppose, issues that would need to be examined there. But I know in Europe, this sort of thing is very common to see portable coffee stands in parks. And if it means that we can consider a social enterprise opportunity where perhaps there isn't one, would certainly like to see that opportunity happen in the southern end of the municipality as well. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McCann. Well said. Any other comments? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 5.1, 219 to 221 Upper Heidelberg Road, Ivanhoe, proposed land exchange. There are no speakers. Look for a councillor to move a motion. Move Councillor Dimiros, seconded Councillor Mykonos. Thank you. Councillor Dimiros, did you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mykonos? Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor McKeon?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is a really important site in for Banyule and in the Ivanhoe area. It's a site, it's the old water tank site on Upper Heidelberg Road, and it's mooted for development. Now, I believe that quite a bit of pre-work has been done prior to this sitting council. And whilst tonight we are looking at a land swap or land exchange, which will mean a large enough parcel of land for the development of a park for local residents in the area. My interest, and this is something I do want to flag, is towards the future development of this site, which will be interconnected with any park, the development of any park space. I'm advised by our planners that at this stage, no planning application has been submitted. But when it is, I think we'll be taking a big interest as a council regarding the proposed heights of any proposed residential development. It's how it fits into neighbourhood character and environmentally sustainable design. So while I think it's a great thing, we're swapping a small area of council-owned land for a larger parcel that is substantial enough for a local park. We'll be interested to see how that park is developed, all eyes on the future master plan, and how it will integrate with any proposed residential development. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor McKeon. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 5.2, 10A Tate Street, Ivanhoe, proposed sale of land. This item has been part of a public exhibition and formal submission process. No submissions were received and there are no speakers to this item. Look for a councillor to move. Move Councillor McKeon. Seconded Councillor. Is there a councillor prepared to say? Councillor Neely, thank you. The recommendation is on the screen. Councillor McKeon.
Did you want me to read all of the recommendation?
There's no change, so just if you'd like to speak to the item.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very familiar with this parcel of land. It sits next to the old Ivanhoe community garden, the maiden Ivanhoe community garden. which used to be located on the old Uniting Church tennis courts. And this parcel of land allowed access to the tennis court. So it was the old access easement. So it obviously has no purpose now in that it provides no public access to anywhere. So I'm thinking that it's going to be a useful additional area of open space for those adjoining residents who've selected to purchase land. I asked the question of our planners where the money goes when we sell council land, and I've been advised that the revenue goes into the coffers for future capital works projects, such as, for example, Ivanhoe Library and Cultural Hub. So it's always good to know what's happening with the money, and good to know that it is being returned to useful capital works projects for the benefit of our city. Other than that, I see no reason for retention of this land, because it obviously has no public purpose, and that's really about all I have to say about it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comment? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 5.3, 87 to 131 Bell Street, Ivanhoe, amendment to approved mixed-use development. There is one speaker to this item. A written statement will be read out on behalf of Ali Hamilton by Mark Giglio, Director of Corporate Services. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, read this statement on behalf of Al Harrington, Sama Property Group, care of Tract. Good evening, councillors. Thank you for your opportunity to speak this evening. We would also like to thank council officers for their collaborative approach and timely assessment of the application. The amendments before you today are the result of fantastic opportunities presented by our client and Vasey RSL to deliver significantly improved affordable housing stock to the local community, in addition to our client bringing another architect on board to review the design. Since the granting of the original permit, two important factors have resulted in the formation of the proposed amendment. Collectively, they result in a design that delivers a demonstrable benefit to the immediate and broader community. The first factor is the result of a partnership entered into between our client and Vasey RSL, the neighbourhood to the south. Our client will redevelop the Vasey site, and Vasey will expand their affordable housing project, the acquisition of 27 apartments in the new project. The provision of new dwellings adjacent to the existing site means that the current occupants can be transferred to higher amenity housing within their existing community. This also means the existing Vasey land to the south is no longer sensitive. The other important factor is the engagement of Peddlethorpe architects, who have reviewed the scheme and provided a fresh set of eyes with respect to improvements and efficiencies. These improvements include adopting a more refined rear setback condition, an improved presentation to the rear of the addition of 2 levels to Building D. The additional levels will be compatible with the evolving urban morphography along with Bell Street and do not result in further material detriment. In summary, the proposed amendment offers built form improvements and incorporates significant community benefits through the delivery of affordable housing units for Banyule. We are grateful for the council officer recommendation for approval of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I look for a council to move a motion. Move Councillor Dimiros.
Yes.
Seconded.
Yep.
Is there a seconder for this motion? Councillor Champion, thank you. Councillor Dimiros.
Thank you, Mayor. Compliments to the officers on this one, because working together with SAMA have managed to really keep the total meterage of the block to what it was on a previous council decision. And definitely there's been some significant social benefits coming out of this new updated proposal. So compliments to everyone and looking forward to it going forward within the previous requirements that were set by council. Thanks.
Thank you. Alison, would you like to speak as seconder?
Thanks very much, Mayor. Yeah, just very briefly, I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor De Morelos was saying. This has been a conversation for the last 3 years at council with the officers. I'd like to really thank the officers and the applicant for working really well together to create an outcome that has that will make the space more attractive and will bring people to the community and will then therefore better for the economy in our area. So thank you very much to everybody involved. We're looking forward to moving forward, not only the apartments, but also the social housing space will be very exciting to see. Thanks very much, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak? I'll put that in the name of Councillor De Morelos. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 5.4, the Northern Metro Land Use Framework Plans submission. There are no speakers. I understand there's an alternate recommendation. Please, Emily. Could I ask a councillor to read that amendment out, please? Councillor Costello.
Thank you, Mayor. One, as is to endorse the submission attached, attachment 1 to the draft LUFP to be submitted under covering letter by Council's Chief Executive Officer, which generally supports the plan and identifies areas where changes can be made, including to better align with the LUFP with the work of Banyule and other state government departments and agencies. B, give more clarity to how the LUFP will be enacted through the proposed implementation plan, with a commitment that Council is actively consulted and collaborated with during the design and development of these projects. C, indicate that major changes are required to the strategic cycling corridors in Banyule and requesting an immediate review and update by the Department of Transport of these routes. 3, as is, so moved.
Thank you, move Councillor Costello. Is there a second for that motion? Seconded, Councillor Champion. Thank you. Councillor Costello.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a 30-year strategic vision that provides guidance on how the region will shape population and industry growth, inform plans for services and infrastructure development. While this is a high-level program, it is an important piece of work and has implications for a range of areas in Banyule, including Latrobe National Employment and Innovation Cluster, the Heidelberg Activity Centre, Heidelberg West Business Park, the Suburban Rail Loop and Heidelberg Station, and others. While we are supportive in principle, there are other areas we consider missing and need further work, especially considering the principal bicycle network. Given sustainability and adoption of sustainable forms of transport will become increasingly important over the next 30 years, the amended motion moved tonight is an area that we need to be proactive on and work immediately with the Department of Transport, because this has been a matter of concern to our council for some time and we haven't seen movement, and it's an opportunity now for us to push forward in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Costello. Councillor Champion, did you wish to speak?
Just very briefly, thanks, Mayor. Just off the back of Councillor Peters' comments at the end there, cycling is actually a form of transport. It's not just an exercise activity. And to create an integrated transport system really does need to include cycling as one of the features. And, you know, as Councillor Peter was commenting, the Department of Transport is still not coming forward with that concept. And we do need to really pitch in and really advocate for our cyclists and those who wish to travel by bicycle to be able to get around our city safely and through the northern suburbs. So absolutely, I support this alternate recommendation. Thanks very much, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Are there any other councillors wish to comment? I'll put that in the name of Councillor Costello. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 6.1, Q1 Advisory Committee reports. There are no speakers. I'll look for a councillor to move a motion. Councillor Castaldo, seconded Councillor Neely. Thank you. Councillor Castaldo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move this and consider all the notes being put forward this evening by the committees. This is the first time we are reporting on the new committee formats. It was great to meet the community members for the first time and start getting their thoughts and recommendations coming forward, of which we can see a few already coming forward this evening and will be considered in future council meetings. I'm also happy to report on the two committees I was part of this evening. BEAC, which has become BCAC, has put forward increased, or I should say that's the Environmental Committee generally, that now has an added focus on climate change as well, and has put forward increased funding for a very heavily subscribed Better Score program, which was unanimously supported by the community participants. The additional funding will be considered in the next year's budget process. It's as a consequence of the recommendations from this committee. Also, the LGBTIQ+ committee also met. No recommendations from this first meeting, where everyone got to know each other, and there's a great diversity in this committee, and this is another very exciting committee to be part of. We have met for a second time. It's not on this agenda, but there's recommendations coming forward from that committee in the next report back. And look, I look forward to continuing on these committees and continue to see all their recommendations and actions coming forward to council for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? I'll put that all those.
Oh,
sorry, Councillor Champion.
very.
Oh, Councillor Champion. Sorry.
Okay, nearly. Just quickly, I agree with Councillor Castaldo. They've been a wonderful opportunity, and also for councillors to get to know a wide section of the community. They're also a really positive way to get community feedback. As they've only just begun, I've been to one meeting with the Banyule Arts and Culture Committee, which was a wonderful meeting, and just to see the expertise across all of the members was wonderful. Looking forward to further reports. Thank you.
Councillor Champion, you wish to speak?
Thanks, Mayor. Just to say thank you very much to all the contributors on our committees. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise with us. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for doing whatever it takes for you to be online, which I know for some people is challenging. Thank you for that. Thank you for the time that you take away from your families or friends or other places you could possibly be. We really, really appreciate that you are investing part of your lives every couple of months to spend time with us and share with us to make Banyule a better place to live. So thank you all very, very much. Looking forward to the next round of meetings.
Thank you. Councillor McKern.
Thanks, Mayor. I agree with the comments made by Councillor Neely and Councillor Champion. While the committees got off to a bit of a slow start this year, now that they're going, I think they're a wonderful opportunity, like my fellow councillors, to meet more of the community and also to meet members of the community who are really passionate about their areas of interest. I've attended 3 different committee meetings, and the consistent observation has been the calibre of our community representatives. They just have amazing qualifications. They have, as a result, a lot to contribute, and I look forward to what's going to come out of the advisory committees over the next couple of years, and feel absolutely honoured to be participating in them. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We move on to item 6.3, record of council meetings. There are no speakers. Would council like to move? Move Councillor Neely, seconded Councillor
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, 6.2.
Point. Oh, thank you very much.
I move 6.2.
I'll introduce it first. So, Councillor Community Plan 2021 to 2025 and Financial Plan 2021 to 2031. There are no speakers. Would council like to move? Councillor Neely, seconded Councillor Castaldo. Councillor Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This project has been delivered in stages and it has engaged the community through workshops and online, written and telephone surveys. So, you know, reaching all the different mediums, which is good for the community. So over 1,300 responses were received. A community working group was established and that went through a series of workshops that councillors also attended, and we attended to listen and to observe. The draft financial plan is informed by the community vision and the council plan, and it looks at our current and projected capacity for financial sustainability and the ability to deliver high quality services, facilities and infrastructure. So this went out to the community for feedback, and that feedback that we received was positive, which is really good to hear. These stages have ensured a thorough process that has been undertaken before we are presenting this tonight. So I support the recommendation to adopt both the council plan and the financial plan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other one like to speak? Oh, no other speakers. I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. I'll move on to item 6.3, record of council meetings. There are no speakers. Would someone like to move the motion? Move Councillor Demiros, second Councillor Castaldo. All those, would you like to speak? Anyone like to speak? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. And we'll move on to the 7.1, Audit and Risk Committee meetings, 17th of September. There are no speakers. Would someone like to move the motion? Councillor Castaldo, seconded Councillor De Pasquale. Councillor Castaldo.
Thank you, Mayor. At the September meeting of the Audit and Risk Committee, there was a lot of good and robust conversation on many key issues for a number of hours. With ongoing issues around the cost of waste disposal, there was a suggestion that Banyule needed to engage in strong advocacy to ensure we are educating, informing and working with the community as we navigate the waste services reform. The main focus of the September meeting was, though, the audit of our annual reports and financial statement for 2021. The Victorian Auditor General's Office, VAGO, presented their closing audit report and final management letter 30th of June 2021 to the committee. They commented that the audit had run smoothly and added that Banyule City Council was still ahead of the game in this area, so very good to hear. The committee commented that it is a quality and reassuring report to read, and councillors should be very pleased of the amount of work council has done. One of the focus areas was on local government cybersecurity protection. It noted Banyule's use of essential cybersecurity model as a mitigation strategy. And there were numerous other reports also raised. I won't go into further detail on those. But overall, the meeting was a very productive and meeting and provided the independent and councillor members a great level of comfort that Banyule's assurance activities are working well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Castaldo. Are there any other councils would like to comment? I've lost
Thank you,
my
Mitch. A
screen.
couple of
tell the truth.
comments. Just that the minutes will go around to council laws now, and council would be available for, and we'll come back to the next audit committee meeting for ratification. I think, Mayor, it's what we're going through at the moment. I think it is quite heartening that we do have such a good audit and risk committee functioning well. So it's going to be very integral to what is coming up in the coming months. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor De Pasquale. Any other comments? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 7.2, the audit and risk reappointment of the independent representative. There is one speaker to this item. A written statement will be read out on behalf of Michelle Jarvis by Kat Bracken, Director of Community Programs. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, Chair. Hello. I'm not specifically against the reappointment of Professor Stuart Kells as the independent representative on the Council's Audit and Risk Committee for a further period of 3 years effective from the 1st of October 2021, as he appears a capable person given his previous experience. However, Council needs to respond to a number of other anomalies given the IBAC hearings of last week. Firstly, I'm concerned that Professor Kells has commenced his appointment to Council's Audit and Risk Committee some 3.5 weeks prior to this Council meeting on the 1st of October, as published in Council Agenda 20th of October. This is sloppy and indicates a lack of care and or respect for the position and the Audit and Risk Committee. The committee needs to be prioritised as the community face COVID and climate change risk and the growing lack of accountability and transparency of all levels of government. Secondly, I feel the Audit and Risk Committee needs to be revamped and revitalised, as the new representative should be at arm's length from the previous Audit and Risk Committee. Thank you for enabling me to voice this opinion.
Thank you, Kath. Are there any questions from councillors? I'll look for a councillor to move a motion.
Moved as in the papers, Mayor.
Move Councillor De Pasquale, seconded Councillor Custado. Speak, comment?
Yeah, just quickly, Mayor. Professor Kells has been asking the tough questions in the meetings where we've been sitting as representative. Councillor Peter Custado is there also with us. Councillor De Morales is there with us also. So we have good representation as a ratio of council laws and community representation to the auditors. So, and that's always good too. But also we do forward the minutes and do answer any questions of any of the other councillors if they do have any. So it's a good process at the moment. We're very comfortable with it and very comfortable recommending to reappoint Professor Stuart Kells this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? Councillor Custado.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Look, I've got all confidence in Stuart Kells. He's been a significant contributor, as are all of our community participants in the Audit and Risk Committee. So, yeah, happy to support a reappointment for the next 3 years of his tenure on this committee.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to the next item, which is 7.3, the annual report. There are no 2020 to 2021. There are no speakers. For a councillor move. Councillor Neely, seconded Councillor Dimiros. Thank you. Councillor Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to mention that this report is another way that Banyule reports to the community. It outlines an introduction to the municipality as a whole, our structure, performance indicators, and an audit report, which includes balance sheets, cash flow, and capital works, to name a few. So just wanted to mention that a huge amount of work goes into it. I'd like to thank the officers for all of this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Neely. Seconded. Any comments from the? No comments. Any other councillors wish to comment?
Are you going to comment, Mayor, on this?
Oh, I'll make a few comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a very tough year for lots of different reasons. I think this council can be quite proud of its efforts. 2021, I remember 2020, New Year's Eve, we all thought, thank goodness 2020 had gone, and yet 2021's proved even tougher, I think, in some ways. It has been a very, very tough year. But I think if you look what we've achieved through this very tough year, we can be quite proud of ourselves as a council, but also as a community. I think the community's hung together quite well. And this council's economic support package, I think, went a long way to support our traders. The rate relief supported many residents. The business rates relief supported the businesses. And our community groups, the additional funds we provided, the exceptions for the traders associations, the waiver for the sporting clubs, the range of business grants we made available, and the Rediscover Local campaign which we ran, I think, all supported local businesses. And the lockdowns went on, and it's got incredibly difficult, and we've seen some of the results of that. But I think as a council, we can say that we froze our fees, we kept our charges down, and we really did support our residents. But even though we have had this significant, tough financial time, as a council, we've managed to maintain our budget. We've delivered a surplus, and we've paid down debt at the same time. So it's been an incredibly challenging year, but I think we've done extremely well in the financial section as well. And the COVID-19 has just been, it's decimated some of our income streams. But I think the savings we've identified, the procedures we've put in place, I think hasn't replaced all the income we've lost, but we've certainly gone a long way to support our communities while maintaining our budget. And as we heard before, we've delivered the local jobs program, which created 150 jobs for people that desperately needed a job in these very difficult times. So I think that's something this council can be very, very proud of. And at the same time, we've begun our really action on climate change and joining together with 45 other councils to deliver the partnership to purchase fully sustainable electricity while saving money was a real highlight, I think, for this year. The community action plan on climate really showed what we were prepared to do and where we were prepared to put funds to really support our community in a variety of initiatives. The solar panel rollout was significant. We've done some amazing things. The rollout of increased street tree planting in our parks. I think there's been a real move and a real shift, and we've set this council up for success and make sure that we meet our obligations. And a very to meet carbon neutral by 2028 is a very ambitious target, and we're on track to do that. But right throughout all that, we still managed to deliver the Ivanhoe Library. And I think that seemed like a different world when we all met at the Ivanhoe Library just over 12 months ago, and we're looking forward to things improving. Seems like a dream now that we could all come together and have a function and Councillor McKern spoke very well at that, but that's seems a long time ago, but it was one of the things we did achieve right through this really difficult period. And then we've had the city plan, which Councillor Neely talked about before. A significant number of people, I think 1,300 people engaged in that process. We had meetings at the town hall, and that was a real highlight. I remember when the state government directed us to do this, we thought this is going to be difficult, but I think the staff made it easy. We had some very good people help us through that process, and it was very engaging. And I think we learned a lot out of that. I think residents learned a lot as well. So it was particularly rewarding that. And then we could look at the advocacy side of it. The North East Link continues to roll on. We've received funding for the Watsonia's Town Square project. A lot of the community infrastructure that was promised has been delivered already. Now we're dealing with the Hurstbridge line duplication. There's implications there. We're pushing for a better outcome there. Hopefully we'll achieve that. So it has been a very tough year, but I'd just like to thank the CEO and the staff, because we've worked extremely hard. And the difficult part this year is we haven't really had an end day to look forward to. The light at the end of the tunnel doesn't seem to have been there for a long time, and that's been difficult. But I think we've stuck together. We've done our best. Our community has been shown resilience. Our community has shown that they're prepared to do the hard yards to support each other. And I think we will come out even stronger from this pandemic. And as things open up, Banyule will come back to life with a vengeance, I think. And I think we'll, as a community, we'll appreciate what we have. We'll appreciate what we missed. And I think we'll be a more inclusive community and a more thankful community for what we have. So it has been a tough year. I'd like to thank Alison and all the staff for their support, but I'd like to thank the residents for their support and encouragement and their guidance. And we have had a lot of community engagement. Some of it has been quite challenging, but it is absolutely fantastic that people care enough about Banyule to be involved. And I know we may not always agree on things, but we love to have that involvement. So thank you everybody for your input this year. Thanks for your cooperation, and let's look forward to some much better times. So I'll put that in the name. I forgot who moved it down. Councillor Neely. I'll put that in the name of Councillor Neely. All those in favour? We've approved the council plan, so that's lovely. Thank you, everybody. The Digital Transformation Strategy and Action Plan 2022 to 2025, there's a slight change to the recommendation. Council like to move? Who was moving the alternate recommendation?
Oh, I can do that, Mayor, sorry.
Thank you, Mark.
That Council 1, note the benefits digital transformation will deliver for the community. Point 2, note the significant investment to modernise its information and communications technology capability. Point 3, that Council approve the digital transformation strategy and action plan 2021 to 2025. So moved.
Thank you, Councillor. Seconder for that motion. Councillor McKeon, thank you. Councillor Di Pasquale, comment?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, digital transformation is a very exciting space to be in. It takes my memory back to talking about digital issues and possibilities at our Audit and Risk Committee meetings in the past. So there's something that's really going to be a benefit to our community, putting many more things online, having better usage for things that need to be done, information that people are after, our residents are after. Also, it does lead to efficiencies, Mayor. This is not necessarily, wholly and solely why we would do this, but the ability to take, not to have people having to handle paperwork, not having to, enter it into one system and then it being cross-referenced into a different system, to integrate a lot of the processes. I think that's probably what I'm getting at, Mayor. It's just the integration of different systems into one, possibly, or less systems, less issues can happen, less problems can eventuate because of that. We have more control. We'll be more responsive to community needs because that data can be, analysed. It can be more updated. Really, this is where we have, Mayor, over the last, I would suggest, 10 years, we've been hesitant to go into this space too hard because of the cost implications. And looking back now, Mayor, I think comparing ourselves to a couple of other councils who have invested quite heavily, now this is in the millions and millions of dollars in digital transformation. My personal opinion was it's a little bit premature to do it at that stage. I think we're doing it at the appropriate time where, as we open up and moving into the next 3, 4, 5 years, there's going to be a lot more technology available. And we're at that position where we can take advantage of the technology as it becomes available. So, look, I'm very excited. Thank you very much to the digital transformation team in the corporate services area. Mark Giglio, thank you very much for all your efforts in this area. Your team too, you should be commended, and continue, if you continue to keep us updated as council laws, and if we can keep our community updated on how this is going to go, I think it's going to go well. I do also say, Mayor, just finally, those in our community who are a bit older or don't like technology, it's not going to impact much of how council functions. So there's still going to be the ability to do what we've been doing for many years, it's actually going to improve functions. So there shouldn't be any apprehension by any of our community members, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor wish to speak? I'll put that, all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 7.5, variation of the contract PA 2110/0503, supply of mobile bins. There are no speakers. Look for a move. Councillor Castaldo, seconded Councillor Neely. Councillor Castaldo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Happy to move this motion on one of my favourite subjects, bins. This is a variation of contract to the supply of bins, as this incorporates the one-off change of bins for the FOGO rollout, which is food organics to green organics, a very important program for council, from the 80 litre bin to the 140 litre bin, and the associated technology to accommodate this rollout. I'll also note that all new bins will be built from 100% recycled plastic, for those that didn't get around to reading this part of the council documents. Look, this is an important variation, and move this. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconder, would you like to speak? Any other councillor like to speak? I'll put that. All those in favour? That is carried. We'll move on to item 8, sealing of document. There are none. Move on to item 9, notice of motion, planning scheme amendment, state and local projects. There are no speaker. Councillor McKern, would you like to move your motion, please?
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is an important motion, one that we have as a council group spoken about during council briefings, and it concerns a number of...
Councillor McKern, can we have a seconder before you speak to that motion, please?
Yes.
Councillor Champion, thank you. Sorry, Councillor McKern.
Sorry, Mayor. Sorry, Councillor Champion. To provide a bit of background to this notice of motion, a number of planning amendments have quietly gone through state government this year that have pulled in powers traditionally held by local government regarding development planning decisions. Banyule Council, like many other councils across Victoria, are rightly worried about this because it goes to the heart of the democratic process. Mm-hmm. The state government amendments are considered far-reaching and undemocratic. While the amendments seek to expedite planning processes for major infrastructure and transport projects, they do so at the expense of meaningful and transparent community engagement. Legislation, Mr. Mayor, requires local government to consult with community in policy and planning matters. Furthermore, the closeness of local government to community gives it a unique ability to communicate meaningfully and respond to local areas of need. Community engagement, therefore, is really an important council remit and should stay with council. Another important role of local government is advocacy. The main purpose of this notice, therefore, or this notice of motion, therefore, Mr. Mayor, is to advocate for meaningful consultation with community and local government on any planning reform proposals before they're considered or introduced, and to stress the importance of community consultation in planning decisions. If we're a true democracy, Mr. Mayor, the community should retain its right to know about land use planning matters in Banyule. The community should have a right to consultation on these planning matters and should have a right of appeal. Thank you to fellow councillors and officers in discussions for this notice of motion, and I anticipate and hope for your support.
Thank you very much. Well said. Councillor Champion, did you want to speak?
I would like to speak, Mayor. Thank you very much for this opportunity. This is an incredibly important notice of motion being put forward tonight. Over the last 3 years of attempting to work with the state government on many projects that impact Banyule and Sherborne community, a lot of our community requests, community needs have fallen on deaf ears, quite frankly. And bit by bit, we've just been watching the state government push aside councillors, and you as residents, you as taxpayers, you as citizens of Banyule to start with. This covers all councils, by the way, it's not just Banyule. You are being pushed aside. Your vision, your thoughts, your opinions, your expertise, your skills are not welcome by this state government in projects that are impacting your home, our home. And this notice of motion goes to addressing that and realigning some democracy, realigning the opportunity that you could have to express your opinions, your thoughts, and allow your input and your expertise into the projects which your impact where we live. It impacts our home and how we function in our home. And slowly, bit by bit, this state government is eroding that opportunity. So what I really think about this, you need to ring me, because I'm not going to express it on this meeting. So I'm happy to share with you exactly what this means for every one of us as citizens in our councils. This needs to stop. And so I wholeheartedly, on behalf of my community in Sherborne, as well as our Banyule community and every other council in Victoria, I wholeheartedly support this notice of motion. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Champion, for not sharing your thoughts on this one. That's a very good. Are there any other councillors that would you like to speak?
Mayor, if I can just say a couple
Councillor
of words.
Deepak.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor McKern, for bringing this notice of motion tonight, and thank you, Councillor Champion, for your views on this. And I understand your passion, because there's been a couple of projects in your area which haven't been going the way that the community expect them to go, with community consultation or appropriate community consultation. Mayor, I think the community does need to know that, and things like, and you know, those residents out there thinking, what are they talking about? You know, how bad can it be? Well, Mayor, we were in a meeting with an organisation which is doing a major project in our municipality a while ago now, a few months ago. We were on, and the issue of community consultation came up. And because COVID restrictions wouldn't allow consultation by this organisation, we quite politely just mentioned maybe they would want to run this consultation on Zoom or a online platform like Zoom, like we're doing tonight. It's working perfectly well for us with our decision making. There's no reason why other organisations couldn't use it as well. And the answer to that, Mayor, was an outright no. That's not part of what community consultation they will be doing. And because they can't get face-to-face with the public because of COVID, there will be effectively be no community consultation with regard to that component of the project. Mayor, look, as a community member, not necessarily as a councillor, but as a community member, that makes me really concerned. So the community just needs to understand that these are the types of things that are happening behind the scenes, and most community members wouldn't be aware of this type of thing, Mayor. So this notice of motion, we'll flush it out a little bit, probably bring a bit more accountability. Let's see how it ruffles the feathers, and let's see what we can, manage on behalf of our community for these major and local projects. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Deepak. Any other comments? I'll just add a few. As our representative on the MAV, I've been pursuing the MAV because this is an issue right across metropolitan Melbourne, and I believe that the MAV should be pushing this as well and engaging with ministers and all local reps to make sure we get the best outcome. And I don't believe we're heading that way at the moment. So this council will continue to push for more action and for more engagement. So fully support this motion tonight, and thank Councillor McKern for bringing it up tonight. I'll put that, all those in favour. Thank you. That is carried. We'll move on to item 10, general business. There are two items of general business. I'll put the first one, if that's okay. It's a bit a bit of a sad occasion. Actually, I'd like to notify the public of the death of Noel Henry. With much sadness, acknowledge the recent passing of previous Heidelberg councillor Noel Henry, OAM. Noel was a wonderful community person and a very active in many local organisations. He was a tireless worker for Rosanna Rotary and continued to contribute right up until his recent illness. He was also a very active member of the Blue Ribbon Foundation for over 40 years. He received his OAM for his community work. Men like Noel Henry are gems in our community and bringing much happiness and joy to whoever they meet. I had the privilege of attending Noel's funeral via Zoom, and it was a fantastic celebration. Brought a tear to your eye to see his family talk about him, see his friends talk about him, and to see a family get up and dance in tribute to a wonderful man. He will always be remembered and very sadly missed. Thank you. We have one other item of business. Councillor McKern, would you like to present your item of business?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually did have two items of business, which I'm hoping they're both fairly brief that I can mention. The first is that Councillors Melican, Castaldo, Neely and myself attended the online celebration of the Ivanhoe Reading Circle on Saturday. And the Ivanhoe Reading Circle, a local book club, celebrated its 100th birthday. A warm welcome was given by club president, Elineth Woolley, and a wonderful welcome to country was made by Stacey Piper. A booklet has been published to mark the occasion, and it was funded, I believe, by Council's Art and Culture Department. I had a chat with Elineth today, and she has asked me to express her thanks on behalf of the group for the council grant, which made the book possible. There was some discussion too, I might add, Mr. Mayor, and some speculation as to the status of the book club as possibly the oldest in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, if not the world, being now about 101 years old. And we figure that it might be one of the oldest continuous book clubs, because I think the oldest book club award goes to a book club in the UK that's been going for over 250 years. But what Elineth did tell me was a little story about it being the most continuous book club, Ivanhoe Reading Circle, to the point where even during World War II, in the midst of all the trouble that this country and the globe was going through, the book club continued its meetings. And on one occasion, there was a blackout. And undetracted by that, the book club simply lit candles and persisted to the very end of the meeting. So that shows a real commitment to reading and books, and thank you to Ivanhoe Reading Circle for being the most continuous book club possibly in the world, and that you're located in Ivanhoe makes it even more special. So that's one of the general business items. And I just wanted to mention too, Mr. Mayor, that councillors attended two citizenship ceremonies last week. They were both held online. They were beautifully hosted by Acting Mayor Tom Melican, and 36 residents last week became Australian citizens. Overall, apparently for 2021, 100 residents have become Australian citizens in Banyule. And I just wanted to say a warm welcome to all these new citizens to our municipality. It's wonderful to see, Mr. Mayor, so many people becoming Australian citizens in Banyule.
Thank you very much, Councillor McKern. That's very well said. We'll move on to public questions. There was 15 public questions received. Those questions answers will be recorded in the minutes. So thank you for the people that took out the time to submit a question. In accordance with section 66.2, the Local Government Act 2020, the meeting will now be closed to members of the public to consider one confidential matter. Can I please have a councillor move and second a council motion that the meeting be closed to members of the public prior to the confidential item 11.1. Move Councillor Champion, second Councillor Minkleos. All those in favour? That is carried. The next meeting will be the mayoral election on the 8th of November, and the next ordinary council meeting will be held on the 15th of November. I'll adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes now so people can attend. And just thanks to everyone that attended tonight's meeting. It's great that people do take the time and notice and be involved. And yeah, I think the fact that we have so many people engaged, so many people interested, makes a better council and makes better council decisions. So thank you everyone for your input, and hope to see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.